A mystic, yogi, visionary, humanitarian, author and poet. Sadhguru is a spiritual master with a difference. Traversing seamlessly from the ancient to the ultramodern, he bridges the gap between the known and unknown, making a clear break from the mere customs and rituals. Sadhguru presents the inner dimension in a scientific manner.
There is a certain segment of journalism in Tamil Nadu, generally referred to as the yellow journalism, because they just show shitty. It's appropriate color. And there is criticism that, see, they told you they will teach you yoga, now they're saying Shiva, Shiva. We told you it's all a big religion. So why? Maybe this thought will come up in your mind also. What is this about? Is this another kind of religion? If you did not know this, Shiva was an atheist. You know this? He did not believe in any god, he never prayed, he never bowed down to anything. Walked around like a bull, like a wild bull. Not like this, like a devotee. Never. So, you can't form a religion around him. And anyway, that's not a man's name. The word Shiva is not somebody's name. Because we did not know his name, it's like it's common in India that if a yogi is sitting under this palm tree and we do not know his name, and usually even he does not know his name, so we'll say palm tree yogi. It's very common in this country to name people like that. Just like that, because we did not know his name and we do not know whether he knows his name. So we called him whatever we saw him with. We saw him in such a state of abandon that he did not belong to anything. You could not identify him with anything. So we called him, oh, that nothing yogi. Shiva means that which is not. So because he did not fit into any definition and did not sit under a palm tree or a mango tree for that matter, so we said, oh, you know that nothing yogi? But there are so many things associated with that dimension which we are referring to as Shiva. And of course, over thousands of years, much misunderstanding has happened and many other new identities have been given to him. Certain groups of people have claimed him as their own. So, criticism will naturally flow. This happened once. A literary critic in Mumbai. You know what's a literary critic? They have no capability to produce any literature, but they have the capability to comment about all literature. So a literary critic went to the local bar and got little drunk and started rattling off how Shakespeare is rubbish and how this is like this, how that is like that. Somebody got fed up with this and they said, okay, we'll give you a book, you give your critic. And they gave him the Mumbai telephone book. He read through all the 3,000 and odd pages. And then he said, there is lot of characters here, but the plot seems to be weak. So, similarly, Narayan is singing, not just Shiva, Mahadeva, Nataraja, this one, that one, lot of characters. But there's no plot, believe me. There's really no plot. Because essentially, it's about destroying your plot. Generally, the blessing in the ignorant part of the world is, may your dreams come true. Yes. Should I? I want you to just look back on your life and see how many things you have dreamed in your life. If all of them come true tomorrow morning, what will be your plight? Do you want me to bless you? You're glad most of them have not come true. Isn't it so? So, here the blessing has always been, may your plot be destroyed so that you will become one with the Creator's plot. Because this life, this creation is about the Creator's plot, not your plot. You're not the person who writes the plot for this creation. You think so? Oh my God, I forgot you make all the movies here. You're used to being the screenplay and the director and everything. That's not how it happens. If only for one moment, if you can be in sync with the Creator's plot, then suddenly the word Shiva means a lot to you. You don't have to come from a certain culture. It will pop up within you, not in your mind, in your very body. Because this is from a very meticulous and close observation of life, a very meticulous and a very close observation of different dimensions of creation, that these things have been arrived at. These are not things that somebody made up to form a group. This predates all religion. When there was no idea of religion on this planet, that is when these things happened. And as live transmissions became less and less, people started writing down. The only way people could do things was to identify themselves with that, not really make it a reality in their life. Right now, are you identified with oxygen or are you breathing in oxygen? You're breathing, that's good. But with so many other things that you think is very real, you're only identified. It is only a psychological reality. It is not a reality as such. Now you I was about to bring the language issue, but I want to go home tomorrow. Now, you and me thinking we are Indian, or you and me thinking we are this or that, is essentially an identity. Yes? It is an idea that we have made it real in our minds by repeating the idea over and over again. If you'd fall on the other side of the border, you would be thinking of taking off my head. Or even you're on this side of the border, if somebody teaches you every day since your childhood a different identity, you would think accordingly, you would feel accordingly, you would experience things accordingly, isn't it? So what you know as psychological reality and what is existentially true are two different things. So these dimensions are methods to take you from a psychological existence to an existential existence, from being a psychological case to be a real case, from being a psychological case to become a piece of life. If you become a piece of life, are you or aren't you? Are you a piece of life? Or are you Mumbaikar? You being Mumbai or Maharashtra or Indian or whatever, this is your idea and your identity. But you being life is not your idea, that's the way it is. If you live by your identities and your ideas, it may be socially relevant, but existentially it has no meaning. So the whole spiritual process is about moving from your own concocted reality to the actual reality. If you let me do it, I would do it very quickly. But you want it to happen slowly. If a dimensional change happens within you right now, then there will be problems dealing with the social realities that you've already gotten into. Shankaran Pillai went to a dentist. He needed an extraction. So he went to the dentist and asked, how much for this extraction? One tooth has to be pulled. How much? The dentist said, it takes 3,000 rupees. How long will it take? Dentist said, just a moment. Oh, for 1 moment's job, 3,000 rupees? Shankaran Pillai said. So the dentist said, if you want, I will do it slowly. I'm like that. If you want, I can pull it in a moment, but you want slowly. So spiritual process becomes painful because it is slow. Otherwise, one pull, it'll be over. But then there'll be many consequences that we need to deal with. So this dimension of what we are referring to as Shiva is not about some man who walked on this planet, not about some god who is sitting somewhere up there. This is about a dimension which is non-physical in nature. This is about a dimension which is non-physical, but the basis of all physicality. To bring this alive in one shot would be easy, but then everything else would just vanish. But to bring this alive slowly in installments is a very… it's a lot of circus. It's like tightrope walk. One step more, people will get upset. One step more, somebody shouts, you forget about your meditation, you want to look at who. This was about you, but now it's about somebody else. They can't even freak in this country. Why in this world? Somebody wants to freak. That's why we kept it in open, outdoors, just in case they fly away. Let them not hit the ceiling. But our social sensibilities are such that you will allow it only slowly. This is like going to your dentist and asking for a slow extraction. Now it looks like such a complicated, such a problematic process. What should have been just one moment? So these meditations and various other processes, these are beating around the bush processes. Slow extraction. Because we have to coax you and coax you and coax you. Please, this person who is taking pictures, at least let's spare the satsang, okay? Everywhere else, everybody is looking at each other through the third eye. At least this used to be a Japanese trait. It's getting very Indian. This happened. I was on a hot air balloon and there was another hot air balloon just taken off and we are about 3 to 5 minutes behind them. And that balloon was full of Japanese tourists. And all the 8 people had their own cameras. All of them filming all the 8 directions of the world. And one of them wanting to shoot the balloon itself, leaning out. And as I was watching him, he fell out, trying to take picture. From about 70 feet, he fell straight down, broke his shoulder and I don't know what else. So I thought, I hope somebody took a picture of this. Anyway, they would get an X-ray, I'm sure. They're trying to catch a glimpse of truth on the cell phone and take it home. This is the whole thing. The nature of your mind is right now largely accumulatory. You think you have a mind only because of the information that you have gathered. Today, a 10-year-old kid who's grown up in Mumbai, if he goes to a village and meets a 10-year-old kid there, he suddenly acts smart because he knows so many things that the village kid does not know. And it creates a false perception that this city slick kid is way more intelligent than the rural kid. That's not the truth. It is just that he's got lot more information in his head, not more intelligent. Right now, human intelligence is being used in a very crippled way. That is, constantly it is dipping into your memory bank. If your intelligence functions only from the memory that you have accumulated, then you are just a recycling bin. The same thing in many permutations and combinations, it makes you look smart among a few people, but if you're left alone somewhere, in natural conditions, you will see you will be quite a mess. Without being able to Google the information, you will be quite lost. Information or memory is just one aspect of the mind. The reflection of memory is imagination. Right now, most educated people are functioning only in this dimension of their intelligence, memory and imagination. The perception aspect of the mind, the penetrative aspect of the mind is hardly there. Very few people have kept it. When people are going about, talking about their attention deficiency as a qualification, that says everything. Because if you cannot pay attention to something, nothing will open its doors. In this creation, the only thing that opens doors for you is your attention. How intense is your attention? That is how much will open. If attention has become deficient, that is because largely your intellect is dipping into the memory bank all the time. Your one hand is constantly in the memory and this one will do this, whatever it does, it's just a recycle of the past information. This is a serious crippling of human intelligence. Spiritual process, one major aspect of spiritual process is to get your hand out of the memory. Why we're talking about so much about karma, karma is memory, to be out of it. Because the moment you dip your hand into it, your life will become cyclical. Once you're cyclical, it means you're going in circles. If you're going in circles, it means that you're going nowhere. The idea is to break the cycle. If the cycle has to break, your intelligence has to become free from the accumulated memory. Otherwise, cycles will not be broken, cycles will be created. The more deeply you dip into this memory, the cycles will become shorter and slowly lead towards insanity. Right now, we're in the process of bringing forth a certain dimension of physical practice. Physical on the surface, but a certain dimension of spiritual process which we are referring to as Surya Kriya. Many of you might have practiced Surya Namaskar, yes, many of you. So there are many, but we can identify them on three different levels. One is called as Surya Shakti, which is largely physical in nature. To build your physical body, to make the sinuses of your body strong, the ligaments and all the other things which holds this body together, to make that very strong. In yoga, we have not given too much importance to the muscular development, but a lot of importance to the sinuses which hold the skeletal system and the whole body together. When we do any yogic practice which is physical in nature, the focus is mainly to strengthen those, not to build pumped up muscle like that, because that is what will endure for a long time, that is what will keep you well through whatever number of years that you live.